A soft breath leaves me as I settle into the moment with you, because what I'm about to lay out, well, it's not the kind of thing you rush. Some stories, they open themselves the way an old door opens, slowly, with that long creak that tells you something's been waiting in the dark behind it. And this right here, this was one of those doors. See, Elon and Joe didn't start out looking for anything. They didn't plan an investigation, didn't plan a revelation, didn't plan a late night unraveling of a truth that had been tucked away like a sealed letter inside a forgotten drawer. But truth, real truth, has a way of finding people who know what to do with it. And that's where Charlie Kirk's widow comes in. Now, she wasn't a public figure, never wanted to be, didn't chase attention, didn't court fame. If anything, she lived her life quiet, like a page turned softly. Her name was Marianne, a woman whose presence felt like steady wind on a warm night. And for years she carried something. Not a burden of guilt, not a scandal, not a confession, no. What she carried was a mystery tied to Charlie's final days, tied to what he discovered, tied to something he felt but couldn't quite explain. And that mystery, it became her shadow. When she reached out to Elon, she didn't leave a dramatic message. No trembling voice notes, no coded warnings, just a simple request. I have something you should hear. Elon told Joe later that it was the calmness of her message that unsettled him, like the stillness before a storm, like the quiet right before the wind changes direction. So when they finally met, just the three of them in a quiet room, it didn't feel like the start of a conversation. It felt like stepping into a moment that had been waiting for them. Marianne didn't sit right away. She walked the room first, tracing it with her eyes, like she was making sure the walls were listening. And Elon, well, he watched her with that measured stillness he has. Joe leaned back, arms folded, reading the room like a man who knows when something's about to break open. And then she finally spoke. Not about Charlie at first, not about the envelope she clutched in her hand. She began with silence, the kind of silence that pulls you in closer without you even realizing it. And slowly, she told them about the night Charlie came to her with eyes full of something she'd never seen before. Not fear, not excitement, something else, something unplaceable. He'd found something, he said, something strange, something that made him question himself, something that didn't fit the world he thought he understood. Marianne paused here, long enough for Elon to lean forward, long enough for Joe's brows to pull together. And then she told them what Charlie said next. There's something off, he whispered to her that night. Something that doesn't belong. And I can't unsee it. But he never told her what it was. Not directly. Instead, he left her clues, journal pages, sketches, symbols, small notes tucked inside books, pieces of a puzzle he couldn't finish. And when he passed, he left behind one final envelope sealed by hand. That envelope is what she placed on the table in front of Elon and Joe. Thin, plain, ordinary, the way a door sometimes looks ordinary until you open it and find the wind changes. Marianne's fingers lingered on the envelope a moment before she let go. He asked me to wait, she said softly, to wait until the moment felt right. And for years, it didn't. Her voice trembled, not in fear, but in remembrance, in wait. But then, she continued, something started happening. The same odd feeling began following me. The sense that what Charlie noticed wasn't finished. That's when the room tightened. Even Elon blinked, and that man does not blink carelessly. Joe leaned forward slowly, elbows on the table, eyes locked on her. What did you feel? Joe asked. Marianne exhaled. Patterns, she said. Repetition. Coincidence that wasn't coincidence. Messages in places they shouldn't have been. It was like someone or something was trying to remind me of something Charlie never got to finish. Elon's face changed right then. You know that look he gets when he recognizes a rare equation. Something clicked. Something lit up behind his eyes. Open it, he said. Marianne didn't move. Instead, she looked at him long enough to make the air feel heavy. Before you open it, she whispered, you need to understand one thing. What's inside? It's not proof. It's not data. It's not fact. It's a key. But the door it opens, that's for you to find. Joe breathed out slowly. Well, he said, now you have to open it. So Elon did. He slid a finger under the flap, carefully, like opening something ancient. And inside he found a single sheet of paper with a symbol drawn on it. Just one. A circle with 3 lines crossing through the center, each one angled like a compass pointing in directions not found on Earth. Elon stared at it long, too long, and then he said something neither Marianne nor Joe expected. I've seen this before. Marianne's breath hitched, Joe's eyes sharpened, and Elon looked at them both like a man standing in the middle of a map he suddenly recognized. He didn't say where. He didn't say when. Just that he'd seen the symbol in a place where it shouldn't have been. A place that didn't make sense. And that's where the mystery began to unfold. Not like a revelation, but like a slow dawn creeping over a dark horizon. Marianne explained that Charlie had drawn the symbol dozens of times, sometimes big, sometimes small, sometimes with precision, sometimes frantic like he was trying to chase something slipping away. He wrote notes beside them too, notes in the margins, in the corners, on the backs of receipts, words like frequency, alignment, shadowed axis, behind the field, watch what repeats, and then the final line she read aloud. I don't think it's watching us. I think it's waiting. You could have heard a pin drop, Joe's voice cut through first. Waiting for what? Marianne didn't answer. Not because she didn't know, but because the knowing itself unsettled her. Eventually she told them Charlie believed the symbol represented something hidden in plain sight, something woven between events, like a thread pulling through reality, something that didn't belong, but kept returning. And when she said that, Elon leaned back, looked up at the ceiling and whispered, patterns again. Always the patterns. Joe stared at him. What patterns? Elon shook his head slowly. That symbol. I saw it once in a place I couldn't explain, and I dismissed it because it didn't fit anything logical. He tapped the paper. But now I'm not so sure. Marianne placed one more item on the table. Charlie's last recording, a short voice memo he made mere hours before he died. She hadn't let anyone hear it until now, and when Elon pressed play, Charlie's voice filled the room. Tired, breathless, urgent. It found me again, he whispered. Same shape, same rhythm, same feeling in the air, like the world is trying to blink but can't. If this reaches you, look for the pattern in 3s, and if you ever see the symbol, don't ignore it. It means you're close. The recording ended abruptly. No explanation, no context, just that haunting echo of a man who felt just shook his head slightly, not dismissing it, not denying it, just trying to thread together a story too big to fit into any one explanation. But Marianne wasn't done. She slid the last object across the table, a small notebook filled with Charlie's final observations, coordinates, dates, repeating sequences, sketches of shadows drawn in places where shadows shouldn't exist, temperature changes recorded at precise hours, the same symbol appearing again and again in his dreams, the sense of being followed not by a presence, but by a pattern. He believed, Marianne whispered, that whatever this was had been here longer than we realized. Quiet. Patient Joe swallowed. But why us? Why now? Marianne looked at Elon, because he said someone with curiosity strong enough might finish what he couldn't. Elon stared at the symbol again, and that's where everything changed. Because in that moment, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan weren't just two men in a room. They were standing at the edge of something Charlie Kirk had spent his last days trying to understand. Something his widow had carried like a coded message. Something woven not into conspiracy, not into politics, but into the fabric of what we don't yet see. Mysterious truth not meant to shock, but to awaken. Now, if you're still here, if you've stayed with me through every slow turn of this door, then you understand the weight of what was uncovered. This wasn't scandal. This wasn't exposure. This wasn't accusation. This was mystery. A quiet, patient mystery. A mystery waiting for someone who knows how to listen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because this story isn't finished yet, and you're going to want to be here for what comes next.